Hello, I'm Marina Kim and these are the latest news from Kazakhstan. The price for bread is increasing in eastern Kazakhstan, resulted from poor grain harvest due to the summer heats. The trial over the case on infamous footages showing how the convicts in one of the Kazakhstan maximum security prisons were being beaten is underway. Kazakh parliamentarians discussed the sports trunks, patriotism and oligarchs. It seems as the parliamentarians were overfilled with patriotism yesterday, as the deputies had hotly discussed the problem of state symbols appearing on the sport trunks that are on free sale in Kazakhstan. It followed with a scope of thematic problems, including the housing for sportsmen with significant achievements. Next story has details.
The sports trunks bearing the state symbols which appeared on sale insulted the Kazakh parliamentarians. Member of the Majlis Berik Bigzhanov considers it as an outrageous and insulting act, despite the project being encouraged by the state supporting local manufacturers' policy. I believe this is a disrespect towards the national symbols and state sovereignty. The Article 317 of the Criminal Code implies punishment for damage and assault of the state symbols. Guilty must be punished. Call for patriotism was voiced by parliamentarian Amanjan Jamalov too. He is outraged by the fact that the state is taking away the housing which sportsmen were granted for their achievements some time ago. The gymnast Aliya Yusupova is one of such whose housing was taken away. What patriotic accomplishment we're talking about if we put the best of our sportsmen, who are the pride of our nation, in a position of a guilty without guilt? Also, the parliamentarians have challenged the patriotism of Kazakh oligarchs, asking them to invest money in promoting the sport in Kazakhstan. There's just a few billionaires who really help the sport development. Where are they, our billionaires such as Kim, Mital, Mashkevich, Shadiev, Ibragimov and Subhanberdin? I am Prime Minister and I also lead the Muay Thai and kickboxing, but no one really assists us, maybe because we're not rich, but just officials. But the problem with trunks bearing state symbols must be solved, they say. In the meantime, some cannot understand why the parliamentarians find it unpatriotic, saying trunks bearing the state flag sold in the foreign countries may be way effective than the rich citizens and officials' pictures making the Forbes list.
While the parliamentarians are concerned about patriotism in the eastern Kazakhstan, the price for most basic product is increasing. Just recently, the Ust-Kamenogorsk authorities assured that the price for bread will not be increased, and the city mayor had even signed corresponding documents ensuring it. However, the next day the situation has changed. Officials have called up journalists and went to inspect the local shops to find out whether or not the bread prices had really increased.
The price had gone up for 3, 2 and 1 cents on each. Ust-Kamenogorsk officials have visited several shops and established that the price for a loaf of bread was not increased. Meanwhile, the bakers admit that they are barely holding the price on stable level for such type of product, as the prices for pastry products gone up by average 2 to 3 cents. The region specialists make pessimistic forecasts, saying the prices will continuously increase, including for the loaf of bread. This is related with the increased price for electricity and petroleum, say bakers. However, the main reason for this is the price of flour, which has gone up twice. Last year's grain reserve is almost over, while the farmers are holding back the new harvest in order to sell it well when the prices for grain will go up. Thus, all the market players are waiting most beneficial moment to sell off their products.
The
border is open, as we are in the customs union. Russia had collected a harvest twice as less than last year. As a matter of fact, Russia used to export more than Kazakhstan. It is hard to tell how the grain deficit in Russia will influence the price in Kazakhstan, but some people say that flour prices here will continue increasing.
An emergency situation in other eastern Kazakhstan, as the city of Semey is experiencing a lack of water. The energy supply company had cut the power off, and pump stations delivering water to households, hospitals and other public facilities are not functioning. The next story has more.
1/3 of Semey city was cut off the water supply. Local monopolist Shigasenergotrade had de-energized the city pump station. As for the debts of Semey Vodokanal, the water supply company, of almost $1.5 million. Aside the apartment blocks, hospitals, maternity clinics and kindergartens are also left without water. I personally held talks with the Shigis even the Housing and Utilities Agency was involved, but we haven't reached anything. They say they have no other solution than power out. The anti-TB sanitarium kindergarten especially needs the water. It accommodates 120 children who are treated from TB and has stricter sanitary and hygiene requirements in the city. For already 2 days, the teachers and doctors here are forced to save water. However, they are running out of reserves. We are not really observing all the sanitary and epidemiology regulations at the moment because we lack water. No water, no operations of children's facilities like this should be allowed. Meanwhile, the water supply company representative said that they are not capable of paying at the moment, as they cannot collect $1 million debts from its clients. The Vodokanal water supply company has loss-free tariffs, as all the expenses are included in, including for electricity bills. Local authorities got involved in solving the situation by proposing a new schedule for extinguishment of debts, which implies installment of $3,000 a week with total 10-year period. The energy company didn't agree with such option and continued demanding the full pay immediately. In such case, if the water supply company won't pay for its debts, then the city will have to cope with life without water.
The trial over the case on the infamous video in which a convict of the AK-159/6 colony, Evgeny Karaush, was being beaten is underway in Karaganda region. 4 convicts are accused in disorganization of the colony's function. During the process yesterday, the prosecution voiced its version according to which the colony officer had provided the convicts with uniforms. The prosecution witness refrained from testifying. After the footage from the Karaganda colony was spread out, its inmates have cut their stomachs open in protest of prison abuse. This was the starting point for the wave of similar protests in the prisons all over Kazakhstan.
The ex-controller of the scandalous Karaganda colony refrains from giving testimonies during the trial on Wednesday. 4 inmates of the maximum security prison are brought on trial with disorganizing of the colony operations charges. The case is related with the infamous footages showing how one of the inmates, Evgeny Karaush, is being severely beaten by the prison officers. Darkhan Akhmetov, ex-employee of the prison, figures in it. Now in the courtroom, Akhmetov claims he was dismissed illegally. Impossible. In other words, if the convicts were held in the local ward, then you as a controller couldn't physically take the convicts through because there were no keys? According to official version, Darkhan Akhmetov had provided convicts with uniform, which was used by them to imitate the role play recorded on the mobile phone. The prosecution investigation had established that this footage was a product of convicts who have played it in front of the camera. Thus the beatings were held by convicts. They lied to the prison officer and lent the uniform sometime. One of the main characters of the video, Evgeny Karaush, stated that he didn't testify against the controller. I didn't testify against you, so you just know it. In the meantime, the infamous video had affected the lives of many people. Convict Maxim Kozhanov, who made the footage, died under mysterious circumstances. The official version of his death is stated as a suicide. This was followed by immediate dismissal of the colony's leadership, while all who were involved in the case may get their terms increased by 7 more years.
The General Prosecutor's Office had criticized the penitentiary system of Kazakhstan yesterday. Along with the Education Ministry, it had found the work of the colonies unsatisfactory. This time the problem concerned not adults but juvenile convicts.
The inspection had established that the minors in juvenile colonies are exploited as slaves and don't get paid for all the hard work they do. This was stated by the Education Minister publicly during the Multi-Agency Commission session yesterday. Minister Sarabekov claimed that 12 Penitentiary Systems Committee officials were held for disciplinary counts after the thorough official investigation. The project of transferring the schools in the penitentiary system to the Education Ministry was also reviewed during the meeting. This is necessary because juvenile colony inmates could also get certificates of completing a secondary education while serving the terms. This issue doesn't regard the minors but the whole system to transfer it to the Education Ministry, so that adult inmates who come here without education gets it while serving their terms and leave the prison with certificate on some education.
Leader of the Sarıgaş Medical Workers Trade Union Ibrahim Junizbekov versus the healthcare system. The organization is being pressured by the authorities, said its leader during a press conference held in Almaty yesterday. The next story has more.
Local authorities in southern Kazakhstan Sarıgaş district are pressuring the independent trade unions of medical workers. Leader of the trade union from mentioned area, Ibrahim Junizbekov, told reporters that the medical sphere of the mentioned region is corrupted and practice of illegal dismissing of personnel and violation of patients' rights become the norm. Junizbekov claims the authorities started persecuting him when he referred to them for assistance. The management of the polyclinics where the trade union has its office prohibited access to the building for trade union members. Moreover, local council had deprived Junizbekov his representative mandate in his absence. Right now, the employer is trying to split the staff. They hold illegal meetings, write illegal and groundless claims on trade union, saying we're violating and limiting the rights of workers and employees by forcefully holding meetings. The Sarıgaş administration officials are surprised by the statement of trade union leader made in Almaty. They recall the 12th of January when Junizbekov was sentenced to 1 year of community work with defamation and the media charges. No, I don't think so. There is no security guard there. It is polyclinic, a place open to public. The situation with Sarıgaş Trade Union is not unique, says Kazakhstan's Free Trade Unions Confederation Vice President Larisa Kharkova, who is also from the south and a medical worker as well. Actually, he could have done this not alone and not certainly through such aggressive methods. This is not going to work. It is a showcase of the fact that our people don't know how to hold actions and how to consolidate. Ibrahim Junizbekov is not going to give up and planning to continue struggling. He hopes that media, democratic community of the country as well as the President Nazarbayev will assist him in his endeavor. In case if he won't be successful, he intends to appeal to international organizations.